Thank you, guys. When Dr. Dickey said that we were presenting this morning in Kershaw and what the time was, I was like, oh no. So thank you for allowing us to join you virtually. It was very exciting to hear from Dr. Robbins and then the team there from Camden. It has been a whirlwind of a start to school year. So it was so exciting to be able to look into some of those classrooms and how you're using ExactPath to move the needle for some students in a very engaging way. And I absolutely love your focus on the teachers being the key to the success that they are experiencing, because instructional technology has been a part of my title for over a dozen years now. It's never been about the technology. It's been about the best practices and how we use digital tools to enhance learning and not just use it as another thing. So using that master teacher to make the pedagogical decisions that really derive that experience for students is truly what matters. We are focusing on a little bit different piece of the portfolio from the Edmonton suite. So we're going to look a little bit today at how we use the Courseware. And there are three major things that we do with that. One of them is course credit for initial credit. So students don't have to sit in the traditional seat for that class for a semester. They can take it in the summer or in addition to their 4 blocks and get that credit for art history or PE or other things. So if they're taking fine arts and they don't have time for one of the other electives, or they need to take a level of class to be able to get into the next level, again, can't fit it quite into their schedule for a variety of reasons. They've transferred in and weren't in a traditional path to get there, or they got a little behind. Those initial credit classes let them kind of do it in their own time and get full credit to get the full learning experience in some vetted content using those Plato courses from Edmonton. We also do course credit for credit recovery. So we use Courseware and certain assigned units for students to be able to recover something that they made a 50 to 59 in. They can get a passing credit and continue moving. And then last, certainly not least, is it as a supplemental resource. And supplemental sounds really sad, but it's not. For CDA, our virtual academy, we had to have a way to get learners who are at home 100% of the time a full platform to live in and be able to know what comes next, have a base for content that we didn't have the time to build in a response to what was happening. So we were able to lean very heavily into the courseware that we were using for initial credit, but that is only at the high school. So CDA was really, was last year K-12. So we had to do some things there. So while we lived in the platform this year, we're using the courseware within our LMS, and I'll get into why that's exciting in just a moment. So again, we're going to look at courseware in Clover, not ExactPath, but here is another exciting reason to be a partner with Edmonton. So as I just said, just skipped slides a minute ago, but our students can drive for credit. It gives us the flexibility for them to make some of those decisions. Obviously, their teachers can pump the brakes and give them extra support if they need to along the way, but they really can do it in their own space and time for those three purposes. If we dig into the difference between that, courseware is the content that we've decided is best for the unit, as it would be close to what we would give them in a more traditional classroom in our district. And they have a teacher that is assigned to that particular content that can help them with additional supports as needed. And it has all of the progress reporting built in for students and their families to know exactly where they are, where they're going. The other side of that is being able to use the same courseware within our LMS. And if you go back to that teacher's support, if our teachers didn't know how to use Canvas before COVID. They certainly do now, because that's how we could deliver content very quickly to our students when they were learning from home. So our CDA teachers this year, instead of living in the Edmonton platform, are living in Canvas, where they can bring in all kinds of additional resources to support the learning and give it a varied experience each and every day. So it's not just living in this one platform for everything that I do. We are living in one platform, but Canvas allows them to bring in all kinds of other types of assessments and projects and give them feedback in different ways, in a way that they had already learned to use, both our teachers and our students. So it's more manageable without a whole lot of training. It obviously needs supported by training. As Dr. Robbins said earlier, there has been a lot of training, but we're moving quickly now with our LTI integration through Canvas. The key to the first two is iSchool for us. And it's really a lady that I like to call a bulldog, because Diane Boyd at our high school runs iSchool. And if a student is not following the directions, and all of these, I need to drop this link in the chat for everyone, and you can share it with those who are live. But all of the resources that we've built are linked in different places in these slides. But this is what they use to drive credit recovery and initial credit. So they have a procedure for what the counselor does, what the teacher of record does. Lab director, iSchool coordinator are one and the same thing throughout this document. But anyway, Ms. Boyd is the one that makes it run, because a student has certain expectations that they are to meet. If they're in initial credit or credit recovery, they have to spend 5 hours a week in the platform. And that doesn't mean, as someone said earlier, it doesn't mean you're just sitting in the platform. She has to see assignments being submitted, or she's going to be on you. Like, she is going to be calling and asking where you are, saying you were working from home, but that's not working for you. So I'm going to need you to join me in room 229, and we're going to get this done. And she literally is our bulldog for that. And I guess I should call her a champion instead of a bulldog. It might sound better. But the kids, they know she's not playing, and they get their work done because she stays behind them. Some tough love sometimes, but she definitely keeps them moving. But they needed that support in terms of, hey, I'm watching you. I know that you don't have that traditional classroom setting, but this content is very important to your graduation and to you for learning moving forward. And I'm watching, I see you're not on it. I need you to jump back on. So anyway, they've got all their roles and responsibilities, and she drives that ship. When I call the assistant principal, who's kind of over this part, he'll say, I don't know, you're going to have to talk to Ms. Boyd about that, because we know that she knows exactly what's happening with all of our students in that platform. So the first piece of that was initial credit. So our students have to get approval to be in those initial credit classes. They can't decide that they just want to learn that way. So I mentioned there were several different things that we had vetted earlier, like PE and art history and some of those things that may not fit in their schedule. But they have to see that the student is able to do some self-directed learning before they will approve them to be here. It's not so much that you have certain grades, it's more that they know that they're going to be able to manage their learning and get it done. And if that needs a little extra support, it can be given. But they're really looking for students that have a schedule need to have those classes. So the counselors make the changes, they get them connected with Ms. Boyd. She trains them in Edmonton if they need that, if they haven't taken initial credit before. And the teachers for initial credit really do have the responsibility here, because while all the content is in the platform, they are responsible for checking in on learner progress, making sure not just that they're working, but that they're succeeding. And if they're getting stuck in places, that they can provide some additional academic support. And then they move all of the grades over into Power Teacher Pro. I will say that was one of the challenges in implementation for us. We follow a uniform grading policy that has two defined categories. It is 60% major grades and 40% minor. So that looks a little different when you talk about activities, and hopefully I can seamlessly show you what that looks like over here. And I didn't get kicked out of all the tabs I had open. So if I go into a section setting, you can see this particular class, it doesn't look like 60-40, but it really is. If you consider that the semester test has to be 20%. So if we look at more of the quarter mindset, because the exam has to be in, it's a 50-30-20. So here you can see 50%, 30%, and the 20% exam. So we've had to adjust in the Edmonton grade book. So this is art appreciation. You can see we've adjusted the activity types for what we needed the percentages to be to match what we would have to have in Power Teacher Pro for credit. I hope that makes sense in that quick flyby what we did to make that work. I had a question from another district about how we were making grading work, so I want to make sure I highlight that. The other thing that we had to do in setting this initial credit work up is we had previously used Apex, which is now a part of Edmonton's suite. We had designed what that experience was in Apex. So when we have adopted Edmonton, we had to transition into what is the courseware course that we need to use. And so we had some teacher content teams that met and decided what modules, tutorials, mastery tests, all of those activities needed to be in there. And we also had a challenge there because it was set up, most of the classes that we were pulling from had a semester A and a semester B, but we needed those to be in one. But the beauty of courseware from Edmonton is we could pick and pull from modules from both of those courses and build our own custom course and then map that. So nobody really felt the struggle except for me. Because they were telling me what they wanted, and then I'm trying to, in the course builder, drop all those things into the place and then find the right matching course code in PowerSchool. But when a kid logs in, they see their PowerSchool schedule in the Edmonton platform. They didn't see any of the struggle, nor did the teachers, because we've made that custom content, we've assigned it to the PowerSchool stuff, and the magic happens in the background. So it was very seamless for that. And now it's just rinse and repeat every year because we've built that content. There's a little bit of changes with new things that have come out that we want to include, or different sequencing we might want to do. But at this point, the master teacher teams don't have to come back together and make a whole lot of changes. The teachers of record for initial credit do have the opportunity to omit assignments, open up, pre-tests that we had locked so that students could exempt different tutorials if they already knew the content. So while we've set that course for initial credit, that teacher is still in the driver's seat for making it work for that particular student. Credit recovery is very, very close to that. For credit recovery, our courses are, make sure I don't miss my notes. For credit recovery, we have 3 different copies of a course for credit recovery. So like I said earlier, the students have to have scored between a 50 and 59 to be eligible for credit recovery. And they have a certain amount of tasks, activities in Edmonton that they have to do and pass to receive a passing credit for the course. So that teacher team had come together and said they need to do this unit or these 3 activities for a 58, 59, and they need to do these activities if they made a certain grade. Okay, so for credit recovery, our master teachers have those 3 different versions of credit recovery that a student can take. And it's based on the power standards we felt students had to have for having that on their transcript. These are the absolute things they have to walk away with. So it really let us create a little pathway for them to not just recover the credit, but to have the learning necessary for moving forward. Again, Miss Boyd is absolutely the person who keeps those darlings in line, because it's not exactly exciting to go back through content that you felt like you had already done, even though they may not have mastered it the first time around. So she keeps them in tow, and then teachers of record are only asked questions if Miss Boyd can't answer them. But most of the time she answers them with the resources that are attached in Edmonton, because even though the content courses, the courses for credit recovery are built out of the Edmonton platform, you still have your guided notes and everything attached that would have been there if it were the full course for the pieces that we have chosen to use. So she's able to pull those resources down and kind of help students through it. So teachers aren't being asked to do a whole lot in terms of the credit recovery, and the credit recovery teacher of record may not be the teacher that you actually had the first time. So we try to keep it off of their plate, but they do have to put an average in Power Teacher Pro. Thankfully, as long as it's a passing average in the Edmonton platform, they're just putting a final average of P or not, or NP for not pass into Power Teacher Pro. So it's not a real heavy lift for those teachers. But again, a game changer at the high school level for being able to keep students moving. Last, not least, is our use of the courseware through Canvas. I have videos here of a teacher showing you better than I can what it looks like. I don't necessarily have to play those for you right this second, because they're in there if you need to know how to use it in Canvas. I don't know that that's everybody that's here's learning management system. It's certainly ours, and it's very similar in Schoology. I'm trying to remember his name. Mr. Wells from Union County, I think it was. Yeah, and I presented at a different event for Edmonton, and he did Schoology and I did Canvas, and the steps are almost exactly the same. So regardless of your LMS, it's the same kind of process, because it isn't a learning tool integration. So it's, you plug in their stuff, you get to pick their stuff, but it's their stuff inside of your learning management system. So again, the courses were already designed by teachers that came together and said, these are the things out of these Plato courses that we feel are necessary to do it the Clover way. And they've built the courses, and then teachers can build that out in modules for their students. So I'm going to show you, I would like to mute her audio. Let's see if I can do it.
Hey guys, this video is to show you how to import Edmonton courseware into Canvas. So if you want to put the assignment in a module, that's where you're...
Hopefully you can still hear me as well. Can you? Maybe.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So she is just going to add the assignment in modules, and then she goes back. I got to get my Zoom bar out of my way. She goes back and edits it to put it in the assignments. She doesn't click on the assignment group there, but that's where you would put it in as a major or minor, so that when the grade pass back goes to Power Teacher Pro, it puts it at the 60 or 40%. And then she picks Edmonton, and she goes in, let me skip forward. Once she clicks load Edmonton in a new window, she gets to see the course that we've picked in Clover, and she can go exactly to the unit and the piece that she wants out of that unit and assign it to kids. When she hits done and saves it, you get this learner progress, which looks like the same kind of thing that you would have had in Edmonton. So you could see all of your students, how long they took, and that the score is posted to the LMS. So all that really means for you is that now it's in your Canvas gradebook. If it's in your Canvas gradebook, then it is, if I go over here for this one, if it's in my Canvas gradebook, all I have to do is action sync to SIS, and then all of those scores from the work that they've done in that Edmonton course are now in Power Teacher Pro, which is something that it doesn't automatically do for us in the platform. So when I said earlier, like that we were using our courses the way we had them in Edmonton, we just build them out to look the exact same in Canvas. So here's unit 1 that would have been for this art history course that would have been in Edmonton. So you have an assignment here with a due date and a point value that goes straight over for all the different pieces that would have been at Edmonton. So the teacher in this case for this initial credit class is not doing any heavy lifting in terms of pulling in stuff from different places. They've just put it into their Canvas course. Now that he's built this, he can recycle it next semester, and the students come and go because of the PowerSchool integration. It's super seamless, but the students are in this learning management system that they've been using we've been Canvas users for 7 years now. So if they have a question about class, they go to their inbox and they drop Mr. Davis a message, and he replies right back to them. He can go in and add audio, video feedback to any of these assignments because we have speed grader access because of the LMS integration. So for initial credit and for our CVA classes where we didn't just want the Plato content that we've culled down into what we wanted, they can pull in all the other virtual experiences from simulations and different tools that we've adopted as a district or designed, at home. We can put all that in one place. And like I said, the beauty of it for teachers is it's not learning another platform. They've built assignments. So those pieces come in. They don't have to move grades from Edmonton or any of that piece that we have to do for initial credit. For initial credit classes in Edmonton, our teachers they can export the gradebook from Edmonton and import it into Power Teacher Pro, but it's not just a button click like it is from our LMS. So trying to save some time there. I think that's about all the highlights from that. Student view of it, again, looks like, I'm not sure why it keeps jumping. Student view looks like it would in Edmonton for them. Once they click into a class and they open up a unit, they see within their screen just the pieces, the tutorial and the mastery test, just like they would have if they were in the Edmonton platform.
One question I had that you or Dr. Dickey might be able to answer or talk a little bit about is I know that your superintendent there, Dr. Quinn, is looking to move towards the School of Innovation. And so a little bit about what that is and where you are in that process. And this is actually connected back to the
Go, Dr. Dickey, go.
Well, good morning, everyone. And it's great to be here with you all, albeit virtually. We are looking toward applying for a School of Innovation designation. Again, our virtual academy was started as a response to the pandemic. We did it full scale K-12 in the last school year. This school year, we scaled down a bit and have gone 3-12. And it is a lot more manageable because the first year we started off with about 1,800 students, and now we scaled down to about 200. But our goal is that we would like to, we know that we have some students that the competency-based route of education is the right move for them. And so we would like to be able to provide that personalized experience. We know we want to do it for our high school students, and we're in the process of applying for a School of Innovation to determine what grade levels, how far do we drop down to middle and elementary school and providing that. But we are looking at being able to use Edmonton as courseware to support that. And also we want to not just make this our School of Innovation kind of a virtual sort of experience, but we want to add in some work-based learning experiences, kind of co-ops or internships, if you will, for our high school students, make that a part of the process of getting there, as well as some face-to-face things and helping our students develop some leadership skills and some soft skills so that we have students who fully exemplify the profile of the South Carolina graduate. So we're in the initial stages of working on the application and starting to work with our teachers and administrators in the district to determine what the full model of that would look like that we would present forward in our application.